In today's video I will be showing you an EDM song that I created, and I started creating this song back in 2015. So normally I'm a Cubase user, but this time we will be using FL Studio, and now I will show you some snippets of how the song sounds, and after that I will go through the whole song and show you everything that happens inside the song, solo some instruments, and just tell you about everything that I made. Alright, let's start with some snippets. So this is the intro. And from the intro we go to build up. And then we go through to the main part of the song. Some variations. And then we have this small piece in between. Back to the main part. Variation. And then back to the in-between part, but this in-between part will become the main part of our song, and yeah, with a big build-up. And the last part is basically the same thing as the build-up, but then it becomes the main part of the song. And also that's where the song ends. Anyway, now you have an idea of what the song sounds like. So let's just kind of go through everything and solo some instruments for you, just so you have an idea of how I built this track. Okay, first of all, I would like to show you this. I actually used cutoff frequency. This is for our main synth sound. Just a low pass filter. I also used some, let me see, some resonance as well on the filter. And okay, so first of all, the intro sounds with something I made back in 2015. This was a small intro I made using Quantum Leap Silk. And as you can hear, it has those ethnic instruments like an eru, for example. And okay, so what did I do right here is let me show you this with all the other stuff that's been going on. So you kind of hear this small this small melody that's going on, and at this part the main synth takes over that melody. Now together with the silk instruments. And this track right here is basically some chords underneath the whole thing. And this is actually an external sound because I created this using my, you can't see it, but I have an Arturia Polybrute. And if we look at our, you see the MIDI out, this is the track that I used together with this mid synth sound. For some reason the automation in Fruity Loops doesn't always work like it should. So right now you can't really hear what's going on that well. It's really frustrating. It's also a reason not to ever use this as my main DAW. It's probably my own fault that it's not working, but anyway. So let's just move on. Also the quick keys, I don't really know them that well. So it's really weird. I'm hearing nothing right now. Oh, I already know why. It's because I need to enable everything here as well. Okay, so enough about that. Okay, so what can I tell you about this little build-up? First of all, let's listen to the percussion, because it gives that tension, right? Okay, let's just see what's going on here. Okay, I think it's this sound. Yeah, it's this one. It sounds kind of, you know, percussive. Small kick drum right here, probably with some low velocity. Yes. You can't really hear this kick, but you know, when you make all those small little things, it builds up the track, and you know, the result is always better than leaving those small things out of it, because if you actually disable it and you would take out all those small parts, it just sounds worse. So you know, sometimes creating small little details is really worth it. At least that's my opinion about it. Okay, so what's going on here is with the automation again. Okay. Yeah, it's so weird why this automation just doesn't work. But basically I'm just opening up the low pass filter, and at the end, as you can see right here, we take it back down and up again, and also use some of that resonance. So if we would disable this, I'm not sure if you're gonna hear. Of course you hear nothing because it doesn't take the last automation. Why does it work like this? I don't get it at all. Normally if you should disable this track, it should just keep the last MIDI information that it received, and that's basically that the low pass filter is open, and it cuts down the whole low pass filter. I don't understand this, but why? It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's listen to this part. Just some small details, but I know why it should be like a cowbell thing. Okay, yeah, I know why this is happening. So track 12 and 16 are probably disabled right now. Man, come on. No, they are not. Anyway, this is never going to be my favorite DAW, that's for sure. So if you listen carefully when I enable everything else, you should be able to hear some cowbells going on. And you know, that's just a small detail that I used. Okay, so the main part exists out of this pattern and then it repeats, but there are some differences going on. I will show you the differences right now. So basically it's the same, but I added some things. If you look at the hi-hats, so this is pattern 7 right now, so this is the variation. And if you look at the velocity right here, if I solo it, compared to pattern 6, you see that velocity is a lot lower for the in-between notes. So you can actually hear the hi-hat a little bit louder, it's not much. And one of the biggest differences as well is that I used those two sounds as well on pattern 7. I was listening to the song. Okay, so let's listen to those hi-hats again. Jesus Christ, I was already thinking I don't really hear the velocity difference, but we were listening to the song. So okay, let's look at this again. So this is the first section, second section. That's because of the velocity differences. And now something I added as well that you don't have in the first pattern. So those sounds. Oh, and look at the bass sound. Let's just listen to this. Maybe we should mute this. I mean solo this. So it has this, should I call it, this rhythm. Those dotted notes, and on the next pattern, it's just a pulsating sound together with the kick drum. So let's compare this again. And I think that's the main variation, but let's look at this arpeggiating sound as well, because if you go back to pattern 6, this is how it sounds. Very subtle. Because in the song, you don't really hear it that well. Again, that automation is driving me nuts. Why isn't it working? Okay. So this arpeggio sound, not really noticeable, but right here in the variation, I basically just doubled it with an octave above. And this way you can actually hear it better. What the hell is going on? As you can hear, can't really hear it, and here, you know, it's not a really big difference, but as I told you before, all those small differences create a good variation, and this actually allows us to not have a repetitive song that's just boring as hell. So variations are really important. And after this part we go through our little piece in between. Let's show it right here. The main sound I used is keyscape, this Rhodes. Maybe just listen to the sound of the Rhodes. And just for you music theory nerds out there, at the end is like a 5/1 cadence. Okay, how can I scroll? Right here. If I remember correctly, this is an E7 chord, E dominant 7. So we have our E. An E dominant 7 chord is basically E, G sharp, B, and D. We have our E, G sharp, and our B, and we don't have an, okay, here's our D. So our D actually stepwise transforms into a B, but that doesn't really matter, you know. Same happens with this A, which should be, you know, you can look at it as a 6 going to a 5. No, a 4 going to a major third. And this is our 5 chord, and it goes back to 1, and 1 is an A, and A is actually an A minor, because if we look at our main melody, okay, our main melody right here is an A. Whoa, okay, song. Okay, I forgot, need to turn this on. Oh. You see it goes from the E dominant 7 to an A minor chord. Because our main melody, let me show you this really quickly. As you can see, it's just it's an A minor scale. Can basically say it's, we are just using the white notes only. C major scale means A minor scale. Okay, so we were looking at this in between piece. Let's go back. And there's not that much going on. Some bass sound. Let's just show you really quickly if we. So hi-hat. Okay, and just as with in the beginning, this right here is actually our main synth sound. And it comes back into our song. But first I need to enable everything. Listen carefully. So again, with that low pass filter, that is making our main synth sound enter the song back again. I thought this was a nice way to let the listener know that there's something new coming, something big again. So if we disable it, you know, it's not as powerful as just using this thing right here. Also, I used something that I made with some noise in Massive. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I think it's this sound. Also, again, subtle thing, but it makes a big difference. If you listen to this thing together with, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Oh, the automation again, probably. Oh. Let's just listen to it. Also, our Arturia Polybrute sound. Just a, you know, mid note, bassy note, just to fill things a little bit. And then we have our main part again, pattern 6 and a variation pattern 7. Nothing going on there, just basically copy paste from this. And then we go to our in between piece again. But if you listen carefully, there is already a difference with this one here. And did you hear it? It's just a kick drum. So here we have the kick drum and here we don't. And also we have some a different hi-hat pattern going on here. And here it's basically just a pulsating hi-hat. And the reason why I did this is because I didn't want to, with the first in-between part, I didn't want it to be like going from a lot of energy down towards something without a kick drum or without a pulse, you know. So that's why I kept the kick drum in there. I also took down some of the velocity of the kick drum, but I forgot to show you this. And also the kick drum has two parts, as you can see, kick 1 and kick 2. And kick 2 is basically our main kick drum sound, and this kick 1 is just a clicky part. Let me show you this really quickly. Maybe let's just something like this, and no. Come on, serious. Is it really that? Yeah, it's really that soft, I guess. I couldn't hear it. So yeah, just a really now it's on C5, I guess. So this is basically how it sounds. And I'm not using that clicky part in the in-between piece. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to show you. Okay, so let's continue with this. I also don't have the cadence, the 5/1 cadence at the end, so I'm not going from an E dominant 7 towards A again, as you will hear right now. Maybe let's just listen to the whole piece again until the end of the song, maybe. Nah, that's a bit too long and then boring. Let's just listen to this and then I will explain how it evolves. So synth pops in. What low pass building up, well, opening up. Some more drums. Snare drum. So it's actually not really hard to describe what's happening here. I'm just using some variations of the main melody right here with our main synth sound. And at the end you can hear it, it's kind of like a melody that ends. And we also use some drums. And as you can hear, I'm not using I'm using different pitches on the snare, as you can see right here. Just really simple, also layered, so different octaves. And the way I use this is I don't really think about, oh, there's a reason why I'm using octaves. No, it's just because I think it sounds good. And that's the only reason why I used it right here. There's no explanation or something weird going on. It's just because it sounds good. That's the only reason why I did this. And what's more to say about this? Well, yeah, we have this ARP sound again. It's great for building tension. And then we are almost done. Actually, at the end we have our in-between piece that becomes our main piece, and is basically just something totally different than the first part of the song. Maybe let's look at this ending piece right here. Just some percussion, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yeah, here it is. Let's listen to. Yeah, so this last beat is basically right here at 105. Very simple ending, but it works. Okay, so now let's discuss this part. Now, this is again a variation, but the main difference is basically that Our main synth is an octave above. So we have this one. Okay, automation. that isn't working. Ah, great. Oh yeah, something else that's going on in the variation is this. It's like this wobbly dubstep kind of sound. And it's something I had in my head. So I was listening to the song and I thought, yeah, something wobbly going on there as a variation would be nice, and that's basically how it sounded in my head. And I also noticed that I say basically a lot, because it basically is, you know, it's basically what I like to say. So, first part, variation with the wobbly thing and an octave above on the main synth. Then back to our first variation and back to our second variation. But pattern 21, what the hell are you doing? It's just basically it's just another melody on top of everything. It's this sound. Yeah. That's all there is to it. Now maybe last but not least, I'm going to show you how this sounds without the main synth sound, because the main synth sound is really loud, and if I disable it, you will be able to hear everything else. Because yeah, there's some stuff going on right here. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. As you can see, it's a good idea to disable the main synth, because the arpeggio sound here is already doing that melody from pattern 21. But it's so subtle that you can't hear it. At least I can't. Maybe you can. Let me know in the comment section. And if you're doing that, give my video a thumbs up. Send it to all your friends. And basically just see, using basically again. Okay, so I was showing you without the main synth sound. And also the Rhodes sound keeps playing, so it's not just in this in-between part right here that it's playing. also in the main piece. And it's not exactly the same what it's playing, but it's really close. It's really close. Okay, so that's about it, I think. Let me see if there's anything else worth mentioning. Okay, the bass sound maybe. Yeah, for this bass layer I actually used that melody as well that we have in the arpeggio sound, and I pitched it really high. Yeah, and I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically it. So if you still have any questions, just let me know in the comments section. Now, I didn't show you how I actually EQ'd the whole thing. I don't think it's really necessary to show you. It's quite straightforward because some compression on the bass sounds, some EQing, as you can see right here, typical getting rid of everything except for the bass sound, and for our synth layers, you know, basically the opposite part, just getting rid of the bass. Also used some, let me see this, I used some sidechain right here together with the kick, actually with the clicky part of the kick. As you can see, it's linked right here to the low pass filter, and I use a limiter for that, but I think I used the compression, the compressor, yeah. So sidechain, and this way it, you know, it makes some space for our kick drum, but not that much, because I don't like an overly I don't really like that much compression using sidechain. It's, yeah, I don't know, I just don't like it that much. But yeah, it helps. So I went for some sort of in between kind of workaround. Yeah, that's probably, maybe I can just, that's the last part of this. I'm just going to show you how it sounds with the sidechain off, on, and I will just boost it so you can hear what I mean by not overdoing it. So no sidechain sounds like this. The way I used it sounds like this. And if I boost it, so this is how some people use it. I think it's way too much. I think it was something like this. I think that's enough. So okay, anyway, this is my presentation of this song. If you like the song, I also will put a link in the description to the whole song, so you just can listen to this song. It's also a YouTube video. If you still have any questions, just let me know in the comments section and I will try to help you out as fast as possible. Goodbye.